An oceanographer is responsible for looking at the structure of, in our case, we're looking at the physical structure of the water column. So we're looking at the temperature, the density, the salt, and then we're looking at things like oxygen content. We're looking at the speed of currents, how persistent they are, how they're likely to move things around in the sea. And we use a variety of techniques to figure that out. So we measure it directly using current meters and also using satellites and things like that. We've worked extensively with INFOMAR so that we always have the most up-to-date topographic and bathymetric information from their surveys. And we can then incorporate it into the forecast models that we have around the Irish coast for wave forecasting and for forecasting currents and temperature and so on. The bathymetric map, the underpinning map, geological map, is absolutely vital to getting the forecast right because it makes our models more accurate. We take the information that INFOMAR generates, we then put that into our models, so we use it as a forcing condition, if you like, for the models that we have. And the models then are a mathematical representation of what happens in the sea. So we can't be everywhere in the sea at the same time, so we need a model to be there on our behalf, if you like. And with that then we produce forecasts. So some of the things we're asked to forecast are things like the locations of bodies or casualties that fall into the sea. So the Garda Síochána might ask us to run a simulation to figure out where a body is likely to end up after it's gone into the water. We're also asked to forecast what the wave climate is going to be around the coast for the coming 3 or 4 days. And the INFOMAR data underpins all of that activity by giving us a really accurate seabed map that we can build into these models, and as a consequence produce these really accurate forecasts for the Coast Guard, for fishermen, for leisure users like surfers. They're big fans of the model forecast. You can imagine they're trying to pick a beach for their next surfing expedition, and they want to know where the best waves are going to be, so they use these forecasts as well. If you're trying to sustainably exploit your marine resources for oil and gas or for fish or whatever you're trying to exploit it for, one of the keys is that you have all of the background information on the resource. So you know where the habitats are, you know where the reefs are, the banks and so on. And INFOMAR brings that. I mean, it gives you all of that background information. So, you know, as a country, we're not going in cold then. We're not guessing what's out there. We know what's out there definitively, and then we know how to manage the resources out there on the basis of these really good maps and you know, all of the ancillary information that's collected by INFOMAR. We then have a good idea of what's happening in our waters, and we're not relying on other people to provide it, and then we can make sensible decisions about how to manage the seas around Ireland as well.